Okay, let's change this here. See if that's better. Okay, hopefully that's working out okay. Okay, I think we've stabilized a bit. Welcome back, everybody. We're back here again, doing some more work on this piece. And yeah, we're gonna be just working on some more of these windows here. And hopefully this stream will stabilize a bit. Here, I'm gonna change my internet settings a bit, so maybe we'll get like a bit of a smoother stream. So just bear with me for a second while I fix this up. All right. Exit out of that. And we'll play this here. Okay, hopefully that's a bit more stable now. It looks like it is. Yeah. Okay, so we got some good news and some bad news. Some good news is that we're here streaming today, and it's going to be a good time, and we're going to have fun. The bad news is I finally figured out why OBS would not work for me, why everything was so laggy, and why everything was so hard to get configured and all that. And it's because my CPU on my laptop is not is not good enough to actually stream anything. It'll stream a movie, but in terms of like uploading something, like it won't. So unfortunately, that means that there won't be any sort of OBS stuff with any of the fun, notifications and chat on the screen and all that. That won't be happening until I get a new laptop, which thankfully I can't afford one, so I should be able to get one maybe next week for next week's streams, and that should improve things. But for now, we're just going to stick with the Streamlabs app because it works perfectly fine, and we're going to get to this. So last time we sort of laid out this grid of how we wanted everything to be laid out for the windows, because we finished the balconies. Now we're moving on to the windows, so we're going to continue working on that today. So let me get my paint together and my brush. So we've got our brush, we've got our palette. we've got a tube of paint that I gotta open with my teeth again. There we go. Because we need a little bit more black paint. But everything else should be fine. Alright, and then we're going to start right over here again. And I'm going to try and angle this camera a bit more. Actually, I wonder if I could bring it in closer. If that would work. So bear with me while I move some stuff around. We'll put this here. Move this stuff over here. I'm basically trying to move stuff out of the way so I can move the camera closer without having to zoom in, because zooming in kind of breaks the quality a little bit. So I want to try and not do that. So just let you guys have a good look at the painting while I'm moving stuff around. Put that there. Put that there, and we'll swing the cord around. Give you a more up close look like that. Now if I'm here, is that gonna, that should be alright actually. Let me see if I can adjust the light a bit so that I'm not casting a huge shadow. Nah, we're just gonna leave the light the way it was. I promise you, we will get this together one day. I'll just angle you a bit more there. Okay, so now you got a good view of like what we're going to be working on today. And let's get started. So again, these windows are just a mix of black and white. We're just making a gray basically. Just filling in that space that we outlined before. Fairly simple process. Just like so. We're going to add a little bit of white to that just to brighten it up just a bit. Just like that. These early streams are always an adventure, but just wait, like a couple of months down the line, we'll finally have it completely together. We'll just have some fun. Alright. What I'm going to do is see if I can move this light actually below us. See if that helps disperse any of these shadows. Which I think it should. That's the fun thing about live streams, is you get to work out all the kinks in real time. See, if I could keep the light there, that'd be nice, but I'm gonna put it down here, see if that helps at all. Doesn't appear that it does, so let's try something new. Actually, see if I can put it up here somewhere. No, it's not gonna fit there. If I put it right here. How's that look? Oh, that kind of takes out the shadow. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right. So, let's get back to it. We're right here. Okay, and now we're gonna put in the black outline. For the framing of the window. Just like so. Yeah, we started out with some technical difficulties, but like everything in life, the bumps in the road kind of make it worth it. Fill that in. Keeping it as square as possible. Go. Yeah, and there we go. So that's one down. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go. So not too bad. Not too bad. Hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday so far. It was a pretty cold and rainy day here today, which is okay, that's my kind of weather. But I know that's not everybody's kind of weather, so I hope wherever you're at, you actually had the type of weather today that you enjoy. I just, personally myself, I love rain. I love precipitation. Rainy weather is my favorite type of weather. So I was having a wonderful day today. There's just something refreshing about rain, you know, like it's relaxing, it's refreshing. Even when it's cold out, it's still refreshing. And I like taking walks, and when it's raining, less people tend to be out taking walks. So I kind of have the streets to myself, which is nice. Let's paint that window first. I'm moving on down the line, moving ahead of myself. does that look? Go back here. Now you're gonna see me do something here that's a little bit, it's gonna look a bit weird on the camera, but basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to shield the light. Because the way we're configured right now, there's thankfully not a lot of glare on the video, which is interesting, but I'm getting a lot of glare off of the light hitting the canvas. So basically, I'm gonna be holding up just a shade, just like so, just so I can get a good visualization of how my lines are and everything. So, you know, just gonna be holding that up every once and again, just to make sure everything looks good. And then I'll remove the shade because that lets you guys have a better view. There. Okay. Now, I'll paint a center line, making sure that it's square with the other previous lines. It's very important because we don't want a lopsided building. That would not be good. Okay. And now we'll move on to the next one. In the next one, I think this one we're actually going to put some light in. This one and the one below it. So it matches up with this and this. So this one we're going to have just a standard, just kind of warm bathroom light, if you will, or maybe bedroom light. You know, nothing too high gloss. Nothing too bright, just a faint glow. But first I gotta wash some of the black out of this brush. So I will be right back. Just washing it off. There we go. All right. Now we'll make sure I didn't get any paint on my laptop, because that won't be the first time that's happened. And we'll get back to making this color, mixing this color. So grab some yellow paint and some red. Some more yellow, make more of an orange. And then we'll grab some white, mix that in, brighten it up. Grab some more white, some more yellow, make almost like a salmon color. And we'll add a little bit of black, just to tamp it down a bit. Just a bit. And we'll add a little bit more yellow. white. A lot goes into mixing colors, in case you haven't noticed. Till you get the color exactly the way you want it. I think that's pretty close. Okay. So now I'm going to start in the center here. I'm going to add a little white on the canvas. And we just fill this space. And if we go over the lines, it's okay because we're going to put in our black border for the frame, the window frame. So that's okay. If we go a little bit outside the lines. Just like so. And now that looks like there's a light on in there. We'll add just a touch more white just to this upper corner, so it looks like that's the source of the light. I'm just dabbing that in, just like that. All right. We're gonna wash off our brush again. And we're going to come back and we're going to throw in our border. Of just the black paint. Really get it together, just like so. And fill this space in. Ah, thank you, Jake. That's because I have a light, like, right here. So yeah, I was telling everybody before, I wasn't sure who was tuning in, but I was telling everybody before that, yeah, it turns out that my laptop just isn't good enough to run OBS yet. So that's okay, we'll run off of Streamlabs until I get a laptop, hopefully next week. That will be able to handle streams. So right now we're just on the Streamlabs app again. But yeah, I had the brilliant idea of putting the light like right here. And actually like bringing the camera closer to the canvas instead of just zooming in. You know, we're learning. We're learning, slowly but surely. Oh, I set up my MooBot too. Hype, yes, exactly. I set up my MooBot too, and I was gonna have all these fun things for the chat, like the commands, and then I forgot to activate any of them before the stream started. So we'll do that for next time as well. But I finally got some commands in, all set to go. I just gotta wait for my dumb butt to activate it. But yeah, I'm glad the stream looks better today. Like I said, we're learning. Slowly but surely we're learning. what to do. All right. But yeah, I was doing a bunch of, like, I did like 3 or 4 or 5, I think it was 5 test streams last night and today. And the consensus with all of those streams was, yeah, your CPU just can't handle it. Because your laptop is like 5 years old, man. Like, what are you doing? So. But that's all right. So we're just continuing with this apartment complex, and we're almost done with it. This section shouldn't take too much longer to finish. Of course, I say that now. Who knows? And soon we'll be able to move on to the other apartment buildings. And that'll be exciting. So there we go. Things aren't as... I think I kind of messed up this brush because it's not laying as flat as it used to. It's starting to like flare a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's starting to flare. Which usually means I was a little too aggressive cleaning off the brush, but that's okay. Alright, so you'll see here a little bit of the color that I was putting in is starting to bleed through, which means that I'm painting over this paint and it's not quite dry enough yet. So I'm just going to leave that alone, and we're going to move on to another section, because you don't want to mess with it too much if it's still kind of wet. At least I don't. But it's okay, because right below we're going to have another area of light. This one is going to be more of a fluorescent light, sort of like here. So I'm going to start out with a lighter gray, just kind of fill in this general area. And gradually just make it a little bit lighter and lighter. Just like so. Went a little bit over the lines there, but that's all right. Also, I was doing all those tests, Jake, so I didn't get a chance to tune in. How did your stream go? Hope it went well. Good. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. That takes some skill. That takes some doing. That must have felt good. 25-5. Oh my God. Whew. That is quite the. I'm gonna have to watch that replay. My goodness. That is nutty. There we go. 25-5. That's like a Patriots run, man. Oh, look out! You'll become the Bill Belichick of running coal. For anybody else who's watching or is going to watch this later, Jake from the Woods and I are fairly big football fans, so there tend to be a good number of football references when we're talking to each other. So bear that in mind. If you're not a football fan, I do apologize. But we tend to slip some football references in every once and again. Alright, do I want that light any brighter? In all honesty, I'm not sure I do. Yes, Jake, like it or not, if somebody goes 25-5, it's greatest show. Okay, I'll give it to you. Greatest show on turf. That is fair enough. I will give it to you. All right. Just cleaning off our brush again, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this area dry a little bit and then move back up here and fix this, because I went a little too far in with the frame on this side of the window, and the center is a little bit off. The center frame is just a tiny bit off, so we're going to fix all that. Hopefully going to fix all that. But I believe in us. So we're going to get our sort of light peachy color back again. And we're going to go back in here and fill all this in. Need a little bit more yellow. There we go. Yeah, that's more the color I want. We're going to cover up that center line as much as we can, just by dabbing the paint in. And then again, moving over to this edge, we're going to put in some more white paint, lighter paint. Just kind of, again, dab that in. Like so. And then we'll get some paint off of our brush to go into this corner where it'll just naturally kind of fade. There we are. Now, I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then we'll go back over it with some black paint. Make sure it's completely dry. While I have this color though, I am going to do another one right here. This one's going to be more faded though. So we're going to add a tiny bit of black to that color we just mixed, and a tiny bit more red. I'm going to fade it out. And I think this was the one I said, yeah. Just like so. Oh, I saw that I'm not sure if they did in Europe yet, but I know that here they dropped the N64 expansion pack for Nintendo Online, Switch Online. So I was checking that out a bit yesterday. I haven't actually bought the expansion yet, but I downloaded it. I just can't wait for them to put put Paper Mario on there, which they're planning on doing. Because Paper Mario is far and away my favorite game on the N64. It's one of my favorite game series, but that first one on the N64 took over my life when I was in grade 6. That was the first game that I ever asked my parents to buy. Because usually we would just rent games, and then like every once and again we would get like a surprise, and it is pricey, but for the amount of enjoyment I'm gonna get out of it, especially when they put Paper Mario on there, because I might even wait until then and then buy it. But that'll be worth it for me. Just because like it's been a long time since I've played the OG Paper Mario, and like I have a copy of it, and I have like an N64 that works, but it can sometimes just be a hassle to get it going, like, because I gotta like put a different hookup on the TV, and I mean it's the smallest problem, but it'll be nice to just have it on the Switch like right there that I can just pick up and play. So that'll be worth it for me. And also like, because Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are going to be on there too. I've never played either of those games, and I kind of want to experience it without having to spend $100 on the original versions, because that's what they would get like if you were buying it online or in a store that sells like vintage games. So that would be worth it for me. But yeah, the OG Paper Mario changed my life. First game I ever asked my parents to buy instead of just rent, because I knew from the second I saw the ads that I wanted it. And it took a couple of years for us to afford it, but my I think it was my 12th or 13th birthday. I guess it would have been my 12th birthday. I was surprised with it. My parents put it in a shoebox. So I had no idea what was coming. Excuse the noise, just washing off our brush again. But yeah, I was obsessed with that game. In grade 6, like every single project that I did had some sort of tie-in to Paper Mario. Like art projects in art class. I did a a diorama that was all Paper Mario stuff. That was the first time I stayed up past midnight to work on a project. It's the first time I ever did that in my life was for that project. And then I did a couple of like writing assignments centered around Paper Mario. That game just took over, man. And the funny thing is, I don't even know what it was about it that drew me to it. It was just something, I don't know, just called to me, I guess. Which sounds silly when you put it like that, but it's the truth. All right, so we're just going back up to this window up here and putting in the window frame that we did last time. That's much better. Much better. Now, we don't have to be, again, like we don't have to be super, super exact with this because a lot of it, I don't know if a lot of it's going to get covered up by abstraction, but a good chunk of this is going to get covered up by abstraction. But I do, like I said, I do want to make sure that I lay a good baseline for the abstraction, which is what we're doing here. Basically, like what will happen is like any trouble areas that I don't feel like I got quite right, those will be by and large abstracted over, and then we should be okay. How are we doing for time? Oh, plenty of time. My goodness. Okay. So, again, I'm going to wait just a little bit for that to dry just a little bit more, like in the center here, before I do the center line. So we're just going to move on down. Just like so. Of course, it'll be amazing that when the day comes that I can also play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door on the Switch, which I don't know if that day will ever come, if they'll ever port GameCube games onto Switch Online, but that would be amazing if they did. Because that game is amazing. It's underrated, in my personal opinion. I almost said professional opinion, like I'm a professional video game reviewer. That's the word I'm looking for. But no, in my personal opinion, that game was the perfect sequel to Paper Mario. It improved on many of the mechanics and had a much richer storyline to go along with it. And I know what you're thinking, story in a Mario game? Well, if it's the main Mario series, you've got a point. Because, like, you know... Oh... And don't get me wrong, I do love all the games in the main Mario series, but it's like, oh, Bowser kidnapped the princess again. And the first Paper Mario followed that line, but then after that, it harkened back to its spiritual predecessor, which was Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo, where Bowser wasn't the final boss. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door followed that direction, where Bowser wasn't the final boss, which I didn't see coming. I didn't see that coming. It was just a fun experience playing through that game. It's one of those things that I wish I could go back and experience again, is playing Paper Mario and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door for the first time again. Just okay, now we're gonna kneel down a bit. Get these side frames in. Like so. And I will actually be right back because I have to go get my kneeling pillow because that was a little rough. So this will only take a second. I'll be right back. Enjoy the music. We're back. It's much more comfortable. All right, there we go. So, just come in here, trying to follow our perspective lines as best as we can. Yep. That black paint bled a little bit into that. So I'm gonna have to fix that in a minute. But we'll do that in a minute. And that happened because the brush is starting to flare instead of having a nice tight clean line. And as far as I know, there's not a real fix for your brushes doing that. You just have to be more careful, I guess. There we go. We'll add a little bit more white to that section. Just a little bit more. Lighten it up just a tad. Yeah. I might as well do this section here. Same thing. Even though that's going to be, again, obscured by trees. Now we're going to go back and fix some of this bleeding that I did here. So, I'm going to wash all the black paint out of my brush first. You know, Jake, I've been meaning to ask you, what's your take on the whole Ben Simmons situation, if you have a take? All right. So there, we fixed that. Now we're gonna go back to our black. Okay, so we'll kneel down again because that'll be easier to do this. And paint these frames on the side. Just like so. And on the underside there, like so. Again, not too concerned with this down here because that is going to be covered up by a tree. But what is important, yeah, resolution one way or the other would that would definitely help things, I think. I don't think I've ever seen a player flat out refuse to play the game of basketball, first of all, and then turn around and absolutely refuse to play for that particular team ever again. I don't think I've ever seen that. That's a new one for me. Alright, so now we're going to go back to these center lines. We're going to line them up right this time, I think. There you go. There you go. 3, 4, 5, and 6. That looks pretty good. So that bank of windows is done, I think. You got a couple of bright spots here where people are still up and doing stuff. Then I think next what we'll do is we'll move on to the bathroom windows, and then I'll do like a couple of pothole windows for this is where the staircase would be inside the building. This would just be a blank wall. There would be like windows every once and again. And then I'll repaint the background here just to square everything up. You know, kind of delineate this area a little bit more. And then after that, we'll move on to I'm gonna also sort of lay in the first level of trees here too, so you can see what I mean by like just where I'm gonna put these trees in the foreground. But before we do that, I'm just gonna grab a quick drink of water. So enjoy the music, enjoy the painting for just a second, and I will be right back. All right, we're back. We're closing in on our first hour together. Okay. So, I think because I'm going to be repainting the background, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay in all of the like the black border stuff like I did over here with these windows. And then I'll just use the ruler once that's all dry and paint the background of the building. I think that'll go a lot smoother actually. Yeah. So actually, as far as that goes, I might even just paint all this as well. And it won't be straight anymore, but we're gonna come back in and paint it. This will ensure that it's straight later when I actually use the ruler for repainting the background color. Yeah. I should clarify what I was saying before. Like, obviously we've all seen, like, if you follow sports, you've all seen like a player refuse to play for a team, and we've all seen players just not play up to their potential or just play badly, or forget how to shoot. If, for instance, in basketball, we've all seen that, but I've never seen the combination of a player refuse to shoot the basketball and play so poorly in a series and then turn around and just straight up refuse to play for the team that he played so poorly for, as if he's in the right. Like, that's I've never seen that before. And like you were saying, Jake, like a resolution would be definitely best here. I don't know what that resolution would be, but I do think that there's no, like, I understand the Sixers position, but honestly, I don't see there being any benefit to keeping him on the team any longer than you need to. Like, I would just get rid of him. One of my cousins was like, I would trade him for an air duster or something. Like, it's weird, man. I'm glad I'm not a Sixers fan. Especially because you listen to the other players talk, and it seems like he's alienated every single person in that building against him. But we'll move on to another topic. So yeah, again, what I'm just doing here is I'm filling in all the areas of black like we did over here. Just I'm doing it on this section. And then I'll go in afterwards and paint all the background color in again. It'll be much easier to do than to try and like make sure everything's exact, and especially with my brush beginning to flare out the way it is. It'll just be a simpler solution. Because I can use a ruler and get very exact with it. So again, it looks like I'm just painting black on black again, but there are different variations in the colors here. And what we're painting in now is basically the framework for what will be basically like the bathroom windows for this apartment block. go. All right, so that's all the middle part's done and the right part done. So now we just got to go down this left edge, doing the same thing. There we go. Now we can go in with our grays and we'll pick a like one bathroom. One person will be in the bathroom. I'm not sure which person that'll be yet, which apartment that will be, but let me clean off my brush in the meantime and then we'll make a decision. Okay, so just like before, I'm gonna grab actually a little more yellow paint for this part here. Just a little bit, because we're not gonna be using much. That works. And which one? Which one? We'll grab a little yellow, a little red, and a little white. Mix those together. And then get as much of that paint off the brush as possible. So that we're left with with paint on the brush, but not absolutely overloaded with paint. And I think we're gonna go with this one. No, sorry. Wait, 1, 2. I'm gonna go with this one. This is gonna be the bathroom with somebody inside. So we'll just mark it like so. Stab that in. There we go. All right. And then once this is all drier, I'm gonna go back in, paint these lines again, which, you know, seems like a lot of backtracking, and I suppose it is, but it'll give the effect that I want. So that's the important thing at the end of the day. So now we're just gonna fill in these other bathrooms that aren't occupied. And again, we'll clean up those lines at a later date. And by a later date, I mean in a couple of minutes, once all this black background paint is dry. There we go. Almost there. Almost there. Man, I don't know about you all, but I feel like more than any other time of year, other than I guess like winter, but even then, I think more than any other time of year, this like beginning of fall makes me more nostalgic for, I guess, my childhood and teen years and even my university years, like more than any other season. And I guess it's because like it coincided with the start of school. But yeah, just nothing, no other season makes me as nostalgic as fall does. And it's definitely fall here now where we live in Ontario. It was cold today, like I said, cold and rainy. Which, again, is just my kind of weather, but I know not everybody agrees with me. So while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to start putting in the trees in the foreground here. Just their basic shape again. And just to sort of show you how all of this is going to be covered, or a good chunk of it is going to be covered. But first, I need some more blue paint because there's going to be a little bit of blue and yellow mixed in. Just a little bit. And maybe some red, so it's more of a brownish green, I guess. But we're just going to use this small brush for now to do so. So we're going to get some blue and some yellow mixed in. Make us a nice green. Let's get a... There we go. And then we're going to throw some red in there to kind of make it brownish. Almost like a russet apple. Which is the thing, if you've never seen a russet apple, like it looks like a potato. And it's very, very tart. It's a very tart apple. I'm not a huge fan. I like sweet apples more. but okay, we mix all that together, and now this black is going to have kind of a greenish brown hue, ever so slightly, which is just what we want for trees at night, you know. So just going to start laying in where some of these branches are going to be. Lots of paint on the brush. And we're just, you know, making decisions on where all these leaves are going to go. One of the things that's kind of nerve-wracking about creating is when you do something like this, I don't know, obviously not everyone does, but I know for me, like a big thing is like, oh, if I start this next step, am I going to ruin this entire painting in my eyes, you know? Is what I'm doing really necessary, or am I just going to you know, botch the whole thing? And that's something that I'm sure if you're a creative person, or whether you're not a creative person, actually, like I'm sure everybody wrestles with that idea when they're working on something, regardless of what the project is. And it's definitely, I think, normal to have that insecurity of, you know, wanting to start something, but also being afraid of ruining it, basically. And I wish I could say that I had a resolution for that type of thinking, but I mean, I don't, because I've been I've been making art for a long time, and I still have those thoughts, you know? So but in case you are struggling with those thoughts and you're thinking that no one else feels that way about their creative process, just know you're not alone in that. That is a lot of people who feel that way about the work they do. Yours truly included. I mean, that's the main mechanism, that kind of thinking, that's the main mechanism in which I discover or realize that I'm done with a painting. When I get to the point where I'm starting to second guess myself to a really big extent, and I start thinking like, okay, well, I'm going to ruin this painting if I keep going. That's when I know that it's time to step away from it. Because in all likelihood, I didn't actually ruin it, you know? But that's where my mind is at. And if I keep tinkering at it, I'm going to end up with a piece that I did not intend to make and that I actually don't enjoy, you know? It's a balancing act. Now, a lot of this tree area is also going to be heavily abstracted, so I'm not looking for a whole lot of detail, you know. I'm not looking to get a whole lot of detail out of the trees in this whole area. I'm mostly just laying down paint so that I know where that area is going to be, like so. Now this paint is very wet, so it's probably showing up and looking like really blotchy on the piece here. But once that dries, it'll give more of the effect that I was talking about. Just gotta wait for it to dry, basically. See, how's our guy doing? Oh, he's still sitting there smoking that cigarette. All right, so now I'm gonna move back over here. Now that this is completely dry, and I'm gonna move back in and repaint that background color down to about here, because here is where we're starting to get into the tree area, and I'm just not gonna mess with it down there. But up here, we're gonna paint that background color back in, and it was more of a reddish, brownish black, pure reddish and brownish black. I'm gonna wash off our brush yet again. Make a pretty good time, pretty good progress. We're gonna grab our handy dandy yardstick, or meter stick, sorry. I know we're in Canada. All right, and we're gonna get a little bit of that red and black and white together. Get that tone that's a little bit lighter than the black that'll be surrounding it. I also don't want this to be completely overloaded with paint, so we're gonna take some of that off on the edges of the palette. Mix in a little bit more red, I think. Yeah, there we go. You get a nice reddish gray, a dark reddish gray. And now we're just gonna go in and see how high can I have that without it going to, okay. Well, there's gonna be some paint on it, that's fine, from the trees. So that's the line for that, so we'll move to here. Yeah. I'll just kind of paint that in. Nice and simple. Let's see how did that work out. I mean, it worked out pretty good, but I didn't leave as much room as I wanted to. So, we're gonna do it again. Actually, what's funny is that this whole concept with these lights on and all that, it's going to be part of a core concept of a show idea that I have for after this series is complete. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to involve a lot of spaces with homes and like where people live. And just how like we don't really have access to those spaces, which is funny because like people's homes and apartment buildings and all that are very accessible, like they're very visible, but we're not ever privy to what's going on behind the scenes inside, you know. And that idea kind of makes me think, and I think about those things a lot when I'm out for my walks at night. I think about that kind of stuff a lot. You know, like just what you don't see in behind closed doors. So that's going to be the subject of the series that I do after this one's complete. Unless I change my mind, but I'm pretty excited about that because I've already got ideas cooking up in my head about what I could do with that series. So what I'm doing here is because I didn't come over enough to lay down that that background like brick color. So now I'm just putting the black back in, like the dark black, and then we'll wait for that to dry and then we'll try and put in that brick color again because I didn't leave enough of a border, not as much of one as I wanted. So we're just gonna do it again. Simple as that. Only this time we're going to leave a little bit more room. But yeah, it's one of those things where like, you know, I don't know if you all are familiar with the term sonder. But it's a phrase that was cooked up to kind of describe the feeling of like realizing that everybody has a life that is as complicated as yours is. All the complexity, they have their own complexities, their own problems, their own joys, their own happiness, their own simple pleasures, their own worries, you know. But we'll only really get inside maybe like 3 or 4 of those lives to that level where we like know exactly like what's going on with them, you know. To put it in video game parlance, it's like, you know, we're the main character in our own RPG and everyone else is an NPC, they're a non-playable character, but we are a non-playable character for everyone else's, right? So Sonder is that idea of like, you know, just everyone else has just as complex a life as you do, but we're never really aware of it to the same extent. And this series that'll be after this one kind of plays with that too, with like, you have all these spaces, you know, and it'll be like, say like a house at night, but there's like one light on. It's like, oh, I wonder what they're doing up. Just like these guys, like, I wonder what they're doing up. I wonder what this guy here, I'll bring that in so that you can see him a little better. But this dude here just smoking a cigarette, like, I wonder what he's thinking about while he's doing that, you know? Because you'll never know. Obviously, you won't know in his case because he's fictional. But in real life, you know. So it's that kind of idea that I want to play with this series. The fact that we have these spaces that are so open from the street, you know, because we see people's houses. We can see into some people's backyards. We see in their garages. but we don't actually have an open window to their life. Even if you're walking by and you see that they've got a light on and the light is letting you see what's inside, you don't really know. So that's kind of what I want to play with this series. I'm laying all this out because I'm waiting for this paint to dry too. So that's the main reason for me monologuing, if you will. But yeah, that's the main idea for the series after this one, after this tracking series, where this one is just about, like mundane everyday spaces kind of being deconstructed via abstraction, because I think that's just a cool idea, and I wanted to play around because palette knives are fun to play with. Okay, so let's mix this brick color again, because this is almost completely dry. So we get our red and some of this white again, and then some black, just like so. And we will try this again. So this is the line for the windows, right? So I want to come over to here. Yeah, I think that's good. We shall see. So let's lay down that first bit. And yeah, that's enough room. That's more like it. That's more the spacing I was going for. That's better. Okay. Cool. That is exactly what I wanted to do. And that's exactly the amount of space that I wanted. So we'll move on to the other side. Actually, let's do the top first. This music sounds like something out of Lisa the Painful. That was a weird game. A weird, depressing game. If you guys are ever in the mood to play a video game that doesn't make you feel good about anything, play the Lisa series. That'll work right there. I'm glad I blew your mind. Good Commodore song, by the way. Gonna Blow Your Mind. That's a good song. But I digress. All right, how we doing for time? We got about 27 minutes left. So that's plenty of time. So that's the lineup. So move it to about there. That should be good, hopefully. And basically the process here with the ruler is basically the same as you would use with like painter's tape. You know, if you're painting a wall, just a straight edge so that you don't get paint where you don't want it. Very simple. Cool. Also, along those lines of like video games that don't make you feel good about anything, the Hotline Miami series is the same. That series got a rockin' soundtrack though, so there's at least that. There we go. And now remix those paints again. And we'll move over to the other side where the bathroom windows are. So, move over here. Make sure we got that lined up where we want it. Yeah. Move that over. I think that'll be enough. And now we do this side. And let's see. Ah, not bad, not bad, not bad. Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. Good. And now we'll move on to this side. Just line everything up again. Just like so. Alright, yeah. And then we'll just bring it over to about there. And then we'll paint this in. doing this part would be a lot easier if I was left-handed. But I think that'll do it. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. That's exactly the effect that I wanted. And you can kind of see it on the screen too. Hopefully. I can see it looking at the screen here, but yeah, there's now just, you can see spaces in between where the windows are. That's exactly the effect that I wanted. So I am pleased with how that went. Very much so. And now, just gonna fill in the rest of this. And I didn't forget about doing the little porthole windows for where the staircase is. But I'm pretty sure I can do that by sight. Figure that out just by looking at it, where those should be. Well, by sight and by using the ruler. I should be able to parse that out, I think. There we go. Need a little bit more black paint on my brush. As we get toward the bottom here. Just like so. All right. And with that, I'm fairly sure, with a few touches here and there, but for the most part, our apartment building is done. Other than those little porthole lights, like I said, that I'm going to put down here. But clean off the brush first. There we go. Not bad at all. And then what I'm gonna do now is, like, basically once this dries some more, I'm gonna like define these black edges just a little bit more. But on the whole, I'm very pleased with how that turned out, because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. But that turned out pretty well. Turned out pretty well. So I'm just going to take another quick break, go get some more water. I'll be back in just a second. There we go. I am now refreshed. And that's almost dry. So I'm going to go back in and do like the black, like the dark black sort of details again. Just to clean up some stuff. Nothing too crazy. All right. So first we're going to shape up this line around this window. Like so. And yeah, we're just kind of shaping these up a bit. Nothing too drastic. Just making some cleaner lines, that's all. That's all this is about. There. I think that'll do it. And then we'll get some of this black paint off the brush. And then we'll move on to doing the lights for the staircase. And they're just going to be like simple little slits of light. It's not going to be anything drastic, and they're going to be they're not going to be the brightest things in the world, you know. So we just need a little yellow, a little red, a little white. And some more white, actually. There we go. And then, like before, we're just gonna get as much of that paint off the brush as possible, because we just want to affect some light. We don't want to, you know, this isn't going to be like super bright. You just want there to be some evidence that there's some light. That's all we're doing here. And in case you don't know what I mean, this is what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my charcoal pencil and then just kind of, as best as I can, kind of just sketch out the length that I want these to be. one's a little lower than what I wanted it to be. That's okay though. That's what erasers are for. So we'll get back to it. Now, this one we are actually going to put just a couple of them down here. Maybe not with that much space in between. Try to keep the spacing consistent. But we're gonna put a couple of them down in the trees just to show that there is actually some light showing through. So we've done that. Put the ruler down. And then we'll get back to our palette here. And come in here and paint this in. As best as we can. Nice and simple. And then we'll kind of spread them to the right a bit. Like so. And then, once this is done, I'm going to put a black background around them again. Hope I'm not too much in the way of that. Because, you know, it's important to have an illuminated stairwell. Walking downstairs in the dark is just a little bit dangerous. Just like that. And like I said, I am going to come back around that with a little bit of a black background just to sort of show where the window frame would be. And if everything goes to plan, that should take us to the end of our session today. Sorry, I just realized I got some paint on the wall, so I tried to clean it and made it worse. So we're gonna have to clean that up a bit later, but that's all right. So for this, I think it'll serve us best to put the line around this stuff with this ruler. And keep it very neat and clean. All the way down. Just like so. Yeah, that's not bad. And then we just do the same thing on the other side. Keeping in mind that we got to be a little more careful on this side because we're crossing over. And I am not left-handed, so we just got to be a little more careful with how we hold this thing. Just like so. Beautiful. Then we'll just put a little cap on this one. We're going a little overtime today, but might as well get this section done. Should only take a couple of minutes. Because if we get this section done, then we can do a completely new thing on Thursday. almost there. Almost. All right. And then, like I said, this section down here, it's a little bit in the trees. So you're gonna see the light poking through some leaves. Just like so. And there we have it. Our apartment complex is finally done. All right. Let me move this camera back so we can get a good view of the entire painting in context. I'll hold the camera with this hand, give you a close-up view. And now we'll move it this way. Try very carefully not to dip my phone cord in the paint. And there we go. So, we finally got this apartment complex done. It's a good feeling. It's a very good feeling. So, that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. Appreciate the company, the conversation. This was fun. And hopefully you'll tune in on Thursday when we do this all again 6 p.m. And we will move on to these buildings here. And we'll have some fun doing it. So with that, y'all have a beautiful night, and I will see you all in a couple of days. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining the stream.